blessings, they coming my way. Hundreds of blessings, they coming my way. Hundreds of blessings, they coming my way. Hundreds of blessings, they coming my way. Like I got a new perspective. I don't mean to be so reckless, but I know my God's protecting. I talked to him before my set list. Got so many things on my mind, there's so much to forget about. Thank God he's the author of time, I don't stress it, to him I dwell. The flesh doesn't want it sometimes, so I just gotta push it down. I've been saved with too many, dang time got surround me like Citadel. Feeling like $1 million, baby, you can't talk to me crazy. I'm a princess daughter of the king. I know when these folks tryna play me, devil almost had me.
Peace, family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Astrologiks, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I'm going to be discussing Venus entering into Scorpio on September 22nd. That is Sunday. And it'll be there until October 17th. The signs that will feel this the most are Aries, maybe, Scorpio, Libra, and Taurus. But before I get into that, I want to talk about the weekend energy, which is going to be Venus in Libra conjunct the South Node. In Libra, it doesn't actually perfect until the 22nd, but we'll be feeling this starting now through the weekend. Just before Venus enters into Scorpio. And the reason this is important because this is going to be the last time Venus will conjunct this energy. It'll be the last time for Pluto, which I'll be talking about in a minute, that Venus will square Pluto for a while. And so these are going to be more like lessons that will be playing out really over the next couple of years with all these newer energies coming in, where we're more focused on ourself and accountability, with Neptune moving into Aries, Saturn moving into Aries, and even Uranus moving into Gemini. And so we might not see the positives. The people who have been doing the work are receiving massive blessings right now. This energy is like, it's overwhelming, but it's really super dope. Um, but like all things, the negative stuff is gonna come up, and we're gonna be kind of fighting through getting out of those negative patterns. And so we'll be feeling this energy over the next 3 months. These are kind of going to be the lessons that we're learning from the Libra eclipse. So the South Node is karmic purification, loss, mental suffering that turns into wisdom, lessons learned, clarity, peace of mind, and balance. Libra rules women, daughter, friends, lovers, your social life, how much you've grown when it comes to relationships, social maturity. This can be old flames coming back, good or bad. It's going to be whatever you are manifesting. This can represent your comfort zone and how it's going to be so easy to fall back into those patterns, trying to break us free from the things that feel familiar. Trying to break us away from things that are heavy. And how to come up with some kind of structure or pattern around that. And I'll talk more about what these things can look like in the Libra eclipse video, which I'll be recording soon. just but I'll be putting more stuff in that video. I just wanted to do like a quick wrap up with this. It's going to show us where we are stuck when it comes into relationships, and all relationships. This is not just love and marriage, your significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend. This is friends, family, and just how you socialize in general. And so we'll be asked to rebalance our relationship beliefs, be a little bit more selfish, get back to the good times. And as I mentioned before, Pluto in Capricorn retrograde is square Venus and Libra at 29 degrees. Pluto is control, transformation, shadow self, tension, it's criminal activity, mafia, abortion, miscarriages, death, psychology, surgery, operations. And 29 degrees is a karmic fated degree. It's a crisis point in endings. Squares are tension. When I was originally taking notes for this, at the same time as I was taking the notes, Diddy's situation came back into the media where he's being arrested now, and he's asking for bail and all these other things. And I found that very interesting. I am not going to be spending time talking about Diddy and what he deserves and all of that. I just found it interesting that he is a Scorpio. We're getting ready to have Venus enter into Scorpio. Pluto is ruled by Scorpio. Capricorn is the devil, essentially, right? And Pluto is Capricorn's lair, the underworld, Hades, whatever. Um, and to me, from an esoteric perspective, it was more so like with Pluto getting ready to move back into Aquarius soon, what's going to be highlighted is his breaking point. Everybody who has anything to do with whatever he was doing, which were all scorpionic themes, by the way, I think he's going to break, he's going to tell, and we're going to start to see or continue to see that fall of Hollywood, right? And I talked about that in the Pluto and Aquarius first video I did before Pluto even went to Aquarius. I do my yearly videos, and I did a big video. If you can go back to that video, if you remember, I talked about how Pluto and Aquarius is going to start breaking down Hollywood and our idealism that we have with fame, people in fame, and kind of that old power and control dynamic is coming down, and it'll be replaced with newer, more sophisticated, Libra diplomatic, supportive type things, and it could change the entire dynamics of what we know Hollywood to be like. Mars and Cancer is also going to be playing a really big part in that, because we're going to be talking about legacy and how a lot of people, excuse me, in Hollywood, 9 times out of 10, those legacies should be passed down to their children. But a lot of those kids don't even want anything to do with it. A lot of the parents don't want them to have anything to do with it. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out and who's going to kind of be the new players. A lot of people are dying. A lot of the greats that we know of have passed away. They're gone. And who's taking their place? Who's going to be the new up and coming? I think Kendrick Lamar also played a really big part in this, and good or bad, I have no opinion on it. But I do think that he put a pause on Drake being the next Diddy. I think they had this set up in a particular way to make him the next Diddy, and they had planned to do this to Diddy from when his Ciroc deal went bad and he started talking about how, they don't care about Black people. I don't know if you guys remember that. I think this is when that all started. And so I'm wondering, because P. Diddy, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not saying he's innocent in any kind of way. Again, I have no opinion. I think he's not powerful enough to even be in the position that he's in. And so who's really the front person for that? And are those people going to get in trouble? And is he going to rat them out? That's what I want to know. And I want to see, and I hope to see, I'm not gonna lie. Really those people kind of get um highlighted and shut down, because if those people don't get shut down, this system's going to keep rolling. It might slow down for a while and people back off until things kind of quiet down and people forget. Um, but we will see. You will see. Another thing that I found very interesting was Eve, the rapper, came out with a book, and she was on the Breakfast Club. I watched the interview and it was very emotional. And it was kind of, she's also a Scorpio, where she was being very open about a lot of things that she was running from Pisces energy, which again, I will talk about more in the Libra eclipse video. But if you remember, I already did the Pisces eclipse video, and Pisces is about escapism and not dealing with your problems, and how we kind of tend to lean on people when we do that as a way to avoid healing and evolving and growing. And the fact that she's a Scorpio, again, coming out with this information and being so vulnerable, said a few different things to me. People are turning over a new leaf. They're looking themselves in the mirror and making the changes. And we will see that over time, especially with a lot of these other planets that I talked about moving into different signs. And there was another thing that she said that was very key for me, and that was that she talked about her experience in the industry with men. It was not like what a lot of these people are saying about P. Diddy. Back then, it was a very different time. She was revered, she was supported, she was protected. They made her feel like a queen. They encouraged her. These were words that came out of her mouth, and I completely uh, uh, understood that. I'm really, 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 really glad that she made a book and put that out there, because I've been talking about for years how masculine energy has been ostracized and made to look like something that it's not. And I think a lot of people have kind of um, assumed that belief to be true and fell into this feminist movement. And that was another sign, because Aries, Neptune moving into Aries, Aries is a masculine energy. Saturn moving into Aries, this is masculine energy. And even Uranus moving into Gemini, Gemini is also masculine energy. I think that we are going to see, like I've been saying, men step up, even if it's not actually men, right? Because this could always go both ways. The masculine energy in general is going to be start to seen in a different light. Um, and people are going to start to take more accountability for that and making those changes within others that we're responsible for, like children, right? Young boys. And the unfortunate part is that can come out in some way where men have to step up and protect women that are being ostracized, beaten, kind of talked down. All these things can come in very crisis like experiences, but nonetheless, no matter how you do it, all obstacles are opportunities to grow and evolve and do something different. And so those are just my two little cents on what I think is coming down the pipeline. I do think no matter how we're experiencing this, There are better times ahead, but I'm telling you, October is going to be a shit show. Um, and pretty much really all the way through to the end of the year with Mars and Cancer going retrograde. Mars and Leo is going to be in retrograde. It's going to be some trials and tribulations, but it's a necessary energy, especially once we get more into Scorpio season. So we're experiencing this now. It's fall. Again, that's a 3 month indicator that we'll be dealing with whatever's coming up to you now. That's 3 months that energy is going to be very in your face. And then we're going to hit all of that again with Scorpio season in general. So, um, it's time to make the change. Make that change. Okay, I'm sorry. At a moment. And so Venus is harmony, beauty, balance, partnerships, fairness, justice, the legal system, legal matters, clients, friends, sisters, women, socializing, desires, values, money, arts. Venus is Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Love, relationships, pleasure, fashion, um, contracts, agreements, counseling, therapy, um, and marriage. I feel like I said marriage, but just in case I didn't, it's marriage. Um, Venus doesn't do well in Scorpio. Venus is considered to be in her fall. In Scorpio, she's not comfortable here. And Scorpio rules transformation, death, rebirth, intense conflict, fear, obsession, secrets, power struggles. This is going to be a time to explore the shadow side of love and being vulnerable, healing, passion, and emotional intimacy. And debt, taxes, insurances, other people's money, people who owe you money and people you owe money to, government money, any kind of government money, um, investments. I think are going to be really, 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 really big topics, but I really don't see this as being as bad as I think it is. Again, especially if you're somebody who's doing the work, this is going to be smooth sailing, where it's just a transformation, where you could experience this more like you've completed a goal, you're taking a break, and you're resting. And it's going to be a welcome change. Like I've been working on this shit for years. I finally made it. I've completed it. I paid off some debt, or I've paid something, or I've successfully completed something. And I'm tired. You go on a vacation, you relax, have a sip of wine, whatever you do what you do to celebrate. People will be getting married, people will be joining finances and coming together in that way. I think, um, especially with the way the prices are, right? We're just realizing two's better than one. And if you've secured your self in a particular relationship, it's going to be like, yep, it's time. Let's do this. Let's do whatever we got to do so that we can have money to have fun and relax and not stress out. Getting a loan, um, um, people going to pay you back. That should have been done, paid you back. I feel like people are going to be trying to repent, you know? Like, I don't want this, they can feel like the devil's on their back. And they'd be like, I got to apologize to blah, 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 because I didn't pay them back, or I didn't do right by them. And I need to make this right so I can get this heaviness off of me. I'm tired of this heavy feeling, right? um, and so I do feel like that energy is stronger more than anything, but just being realistic, right? I mean, I can only imagine that's how the people in Diddy's situation feel. Like people are seeing him in jail and they're like, yes, the system does work. Mm. Um, Actually, it's going to be a come up for him. He's going to get more out of this than anything because he really gets the opportunity to heal and see himself for the first time and change, which was a lot of what Eve was saying she was avoiding because she was scared. She was afraid to do better and change and look at herself in order to do that. But she's there, she's done it, and she's still got some work to do, you could tell, but you could also tell that she was very, very happy, right? And so this is why I say I don't have an opinion about P. Diddy, good or bad, because I know that lesson, bitch. You ain't gonna get me. I know what it feels like to be in that position. And so I'd be careful with saying that, right? This is a time to give everybody the opportunity to do right and take accountability for the reasons in which why you were in these situations in the first place. So don't look at it as, ooh, somebody's getting their payback because anytime you are pointing the finger, you're always going to have 10, 20 more fingers pointing at you, right? And so I'd be very, very careful of your thoughts right now while you manifesting whatever it is you're trying to manifest, because it's not too late for spirit to rip the rug up underneath you and you fall right on your ass ever. It's not just this time. That's just spiritual law, right? What goes around comes around. And so this is why I'm trying to be real strategic on how I talk about that situation, but I think it's a really good example as to how this can be playing out for people, is that I can see people in this energy of feeling like they're finally getting justice, right? But in order for that justice for that person that seems to be or appears to be in an easier position or place because it was done unto them and they want revenge, you still have work to do. You have to admit why you got into that. And this is where culture plays a really big role in your idealism and that Pisces energy and how who you look up to, how bad you wanted to be in that position that got you there. And then once you got there and you realize what it really was, and it's a wake up call, right? Pisces um, was it conjunct or square Uranus? Pisces and Taurus. It was trine Uranus and Taurus. And Uranus is that awakening moment, that light bulb moment. And so everybody has work to do. And so, in order for that to be successful and you to feel fulfilled in that justice, you still have to admit how you got into that situation in the first place. And I think it's going to be a lot harder for people who aren't going through hardship. That's the trick about wanting revenge and being in a particular position in life, is that most people will assume because somebody's going through something easier that they have it easier. No, no, no. This is why we have obstacles and squares and tension. The people who go through it the hardest are actually the blessed ones. Believe it or not, you don't have to like it, but that's just the way it is, because they learn the lesson officially in that hardship. Like there's no way you're running from this. You're facing this issue now, and it becomes a blessing in disguise. Whereas people who don't go through hardship, they think they're all, ooh, my life it may not be great, but it ain't that bad. It's harder for those people to change. And so I feel like this is what this energy is going to feel like. And so be mindful, pray for other people, and remember where you came from to get to where you are. Okay. This is going to be real big, heavy hitter lessons for people to have to swallow and understand when it comes to revenge and getting people back, or that Scorpio with that stinger. They want to get you. They want to get you back. I'm gonna match your energy. Not today. It ain't gonna feel so good this time around. And so, this can be things that are hidden lies, people giving ultimatums, things that have been said or not said, for that matter, purging. This can be a lot of betrayal and jealousy, possessiveness, control issues, soul connections, deep bonds. Get into the core of relationships, being vulnerable. Not everything's meant to be fair. A head for what is it? An eye for an eye. Justice is very tricky, especially when we're talking about scorpionic energy. You have to be careful of your thoughts and how you think about certain things. Another reason this is important to mention is what I was kind of alluding to with the relationship aspects when I was talking about my mom. I know people was listening to me like, did this bitch just say her mom's a drug addict and a hero in the same sentence? Yes. Yes, I did. And the reason why I acknowledge my mom in that way, because my mom was a fucking G. She took the problems in her relationship and she dealt with them. That's just what women did back then. And I can't escape this idea in my mind that I think today women are better because they don't take any BS, and that's good. That's what we're going to be fighting for. But balance and learning what is and isn't that deep. It's not that serious because nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to have their flaws. And so are you going to cherry pick through each and every person that you're dating until you find that right person that doesn't really exist? There's still going to be some kind of um, shit that you're going to have to put up with when it comes to connecting with other people. Um, and I think somewhere along the lines, we lost that lesson for the right reasons. It's not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. It's just something to acknowledge is that we all got shit going on and we all have to work through that shit. Are you that woman who's strong enough not to be judgmental and look down on that person because of what they're going through and deem that they don't deserve love because of it? This is deeply rooted within us now over the years, right? My mom, and listen, either way isn't correct because I'm telling you today, my mom, you can tell my mother looks like she's been through some shit. She's been beat down and downtrodden from the drugs. They kicked her ass, you know. Um, and it's tough to watch somebody go through that. And even though my mom and dad are still together, I think what 42 years, 40, no, I'm lying. 42, 43, 45, 46, 46 years they've been together. And you can tell that she's been beat down from that relationship. My dad is still the same person. She can't change him. He has to choose to do that. Right. And who the hell wants to put up with that? That's what we're taught today. Right. Mm, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow because it might not be as bad as my mom and dad's situation exactly. Right. But what are the tools and what are we measuring against to make those decisions? We have to look at that and ask ourselves why none of us are getting married and why we're not in long-term relationships like that anymore. We're talking about a difference between somebody being in a relationship for 46 years compared to, what do they say, marriages last 5 years now. That's fucking sad. And I don't think it's a good thing or a bad thing. I just don't think that we have the fortitude anymore to fight through difficult situations when they are undoubtedly going to happen. You are not going to be able to avoid that. Even think of yourself when you're with yourself by yourself. Has your life always been peachy keen? You deal with it, right? And so I think it's a matter of attitude that we're looking at and other things that we have to take into context about or around these themes. But nonetheless, it definitely needs to be a conversation that needs to be considered and had. I'm not the expert here, so I'm gonna do my best in the next video, the Libra eclipse, to talk about it. But I highly advise people, like, go get some help and ask people who have been in these relationships so that you can change your mind the way you're thinking about them now. Because I can almost guarantee you, you're missing something. And when you hear those stories, a lot of those women are going to tell you, yeah, he cheated. Yeah, he got a baby outside the relationship. They got all that same shit going on, but they deal with it. And I'm not saying that that's what we should accept. I do think that there needs to be a change, but I also still think that comes from an era of where we've lost that ability to tap into that masculine energy, trust it, and continue to evolve it, grow it, and raise it up. And that has a lot to do with outside factors and society and the system in this country. That's an even bigger problem. And it becomes a double-edged sword. But I do think nonetheless that these aspects and planets and other, astrological things that are going to be changing are going to give us the fortitude to be able to look at those things from a different perspective. Okay, that's my soapbox for today. That's it. And so I do think people are going to build stronger relationships. Again, people who have been doing the work, you're like chef's kiss in your relationships right now. You're on your way to um, deepening your bonds. Again, it could be now that you're at the point where you're doing the joint finance thing. It depends. Everybody's going to experience this differently. And you're doing more things together, having more time together, et cetera, et cetera. Which I think is probably one of the most beautiful experiences you can have in a relationship in the world. And on the upside, the positive side, the higher vibration of Scorpio, you get all of that, right? Somebody who truly loves and cares for you the way that you are, right? Even Pisces, being in the North Node now, unconditional love, don't matter. If you didn't wake up like this, they still love you, okay? With your wig and your fake nails. I'm being an asshole now, but I think you get the picture. I think we really, really, really have an opportunity to get that type of love, is what I'm saying. There's access to it. Even if you've done some kind of investment savings, you're going to be getting rewards from that now. Um, yeah. Um, we'll also be learning not to give away our power. Um, just to keep the peace in relationships. Don't ignore our own needs to please others, expectations of us. There can be a deeper discomfort with things that are not working, and that's to get you out of your skin. And there's signs to bust a move and do something different. Um, make decisions because it's required to get something done, to move things forward, not to please others. And then power issues and relationships come to like corruption and hidden motives. Okay. And so I think fashion can change to be a little bit more darker. Um, lace, leather, a little bit more mysterious, glasses, hats, um, anything that kind of covers you up, anything occult-esque, and minimalists. I feel like Scorpio, because Scorpio's my Wally placement, it's the trash man, it's the junkyard. And so I feel like Scorpionic energy fashion can be like people who piece things together. You see those pants where somebody sewed on another piece of pant or a different kind of fabric or jewels, uh, you know, uh, maybe even writing on your pants, making your own art. Um, you know, things that can be reused in some kind of way, or that have holes in it, or I don't want to say a dingy look, maybe grunge. Is that what you call it? The grunge style? I don't know. It's very rock and roll-esque. Okay. Um, we're not going to be dealing with surface level relationships. We're going to be looking for deeper, intense, vulnerable connections, crave deeper connections, um, soul connections, and building stronger bonds, emotional intimacy, and demand authenticity. Again, secrets come to light. So this can be things around loyalty, trust, looking for people you can rely on, which might require you to discuss your fears with others. That can be very uncomfortable, but people will be pushing through. Intense focus to do some research, investigation, or study something like psychology, astrology, numerology, um, and all these types of things. Get into the root cause of things to clear the air. Aesthetics. And so this could be like Botox, with Scorpio energy, tattoos, plastic surgery, or to be honest, it could be like renovations with Mars and Cancer. Um, yeah, some kind of transformation, change. So this could be BBLs and breast replacements and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to grab my chest. Like it was very vulgar. That was an act. That was not a part of the video. It could be breast replacements or reductions. It could be like fat reductions. Maybe like you've ever seen those people who put on like the eyebrows? It could be lips. Um, really any kind of surgery that's like changing how you look. We're talking about Venus here, right? And so some kind of beauty tactics and things of that nature. Um, we can have the desire to seek control and try and manipulate others more so than not around this time. Privacy and boundaries in relationships, not sharing your relationship with others is probably going to be the best policy. If you're doing this right, you're cooped up away somewhere minding your damn business, to be quite frank. With Scorpio energy, it's the dark night of the soul, whether you want it to be or not. And then making the North Node in Pisces. Yeah. Go to sleep. Okay. Sleep it all away. Do things behind the scenes. That's probably the safest place. But obviously everybody's not gonna be, but that's how I feel. Um I talked about money and savings, strengthening your values in long-term relationships, or to strengthening your values to have long-term anything. It doesn't have to be relationships, by the way. This could be long-term money, long-term goals, long-term focus, long-term studying, or ability to study, or ability to research, long-term counseling or therapy. This could be long-term anything, but nonetheless, Venus does rule goal your values and beliefs, and so this is a lot of studying, learning, um, perhaps going back to church. Um, Again, listening to other people who have been through something that you're trying to learn is going to be a huge theme, especially I'll talk more about in the next video, in the Libra eclipse video, because that comes with change. Because if you're not doing those things, if you're not replacing something with the things that are falling apart in your life, the things that you're letting go in your life, this is how you repeat cycles. You're bound to, because you don't know anything else. And so as things fall away, new things need to come in to replace that energy. And so a lot of people are just like relearning. This is like unlearning and relearning how to do things for this new person or belief system or whatever this is about yourself that you're trying to create. And jealousy, possessiveness, hard to let go of anything. Again, this doesn't just have to be about relationships. This could be about grief and loss. I did talk about the reproductive, I said miscarriages. I think I mentioned that earlier on. This could be health issues around the reproductive uh, organs. That's what Scorpio rules. Um, but again, I do think people will have support. So people, if you couldn't have babies, you might, a miracle. This literally can feel like a miracle. Um, your baby, you're gonna be pregnant, um, and have a child. Um, maybe you're having like PMS issues and you find some kind of health thing that helps. I mean, this could anything to do with the reproductive, okay? And I talked about therapy and counseling. So yeah. Family. I hope this information was helpful. As usual, I love and appreciate you. Peace.